Hey everyone, welcome into the Flippin' Hippos YouTube channel. I'm Star. If you're new here or you haven't yet, please consider subscribing and helping us feed a hungry hippo. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Today we're going to talk about having an efficient work schedule. This means routines, finding processes that will make you work more quickly, more efficiently, and be more productive. If you've been following the end of year series I've been doing and doing your homework, you've got a planner or a bullet journal set up. And whether that looks like a notebook to you or a planner you have on your computer or your phone, just somewhere to keep track of your time, your schedules, your to-do lists, and all of that. You should have that set up. You should have done your 10 lists that everyone needs. And then we talked about tracking how you spend your time each day so you can discover where you're wasting time and what processes of reselling or tasks that take you a little bit long that you need to work on. So you should have all of that done. Now today we're going to talk about how to be more efficient. First, we're going to talk about how to have efficient work schedule, and then how to block time, and then how to batch work. So an efficient work schedule means you're going to do all the things in a day that you need to do. Now we're just simply talking about your reselling business. Find that work-life balance. Have a time frame where you're working and a time where you're off. But when you're working, you should have a basic schedule so that you can get everything done. What a reseller needs to do each day really just comes down to three things. You have to ship, you have to list, and you have to source. When items sell, you have to ship them to your buyers. Then you have to list to replace the items that sold so you have more for sale, plus to keep your stores and your closets happy. An active store is a happy store. If you're consistently listing each day, your store will do better. And then you have to obviously go thrifting or source online somehow to get more items for you to list. It sounds simple when you break it down like that. You have to ship, list, and source. That's it. But how are you going to do that effectively? How are you going to schedule the time for that? So you have to figure out how you work best. Most people ship first thing in the morning and then list, or then go thrifting and come home and list. When you're listing, there are ways to increase your productivity, such as batch work. I've talked about this before, but it bears repeating and it's super important. And if you're new to this channel or new to reselling in general, this is really something you need to hear. If you take 2 pairs of jeans, 2 men's shirts, 1 women's shirt, a dress, a pair of shoes, and a plush, and you bring them to your workspace and you measure and you photograph each item and get it ready to list, that is not efficient. When you do all alike items, which is what batch work is, you will increase your speed. You will become more proficient. When you are doing lots of different types of items, or gosh, this is a real big way to waste time and not be proficient. There are some folks who will take one item and go through the entire process from beginning to end and then go get the second item. And the example for that would be, let's say you're batch working, so you have 10 pairs of jeans. So you take the first pair of jeans, measure it, photograph it, come over to your desk and list it. That's not an efficient use of your time. You want to measure all 10 pairs, then photograph all 10 pairs, then list all 10 pairs. So batch work counts for the types of items you're working on, but also the tasks that you're doing. You want to have a pile or a stack of all alike items, and you want to take these items, if they require prep of any kind, do that first. If it's shoes that need cleaned, shirts that need measured or steamed, you want to do any prep work to this pile first, then measurements, then photographs, then listing. I challenge you to do this. If you're not already, you will definitely see a difference, and you will see how much more quickly you are getting through your death piles and getting items listed. The repetition, the repeating one task over and over does increase your speed. It helps with muscle memory, and it just helps you become overall faster. So the batch work is super important, and it's not one or the other. You want to have all alike items and do one task at a time to all of those items, and then move on to the next task. Blocking time is also a very good way to have an efficient work schedule and good routines in place and have a very productive work day. And you can sit and brainstorm with a pen and paper, or you can just think in your head how you want to do this. And you want to take your personality into account as well. So some people work best doing things for a longer period of time, and some folks need to break up their tasks in smaller increments throughout the day. I, for instance, could pick one day a week and do my photos for my entire 8-hour workday. But not everyone can function that way. What most people find best is to block time each day for photographing and block time for listing, and then incorporate your goals into that. So if you want to list 10 items a day, you would pick 10 items, photograph them, and then list those 10 items. So you're blocking the time you need for that. I do recommend having a bank. This is like a little bit of a side note, but if you have a bank of listings, it can help you in the future to be more productive and to have better processes in place. It can also help you if something comes up and you have to take a day off. I mean, life happens to all of us, and it's usually out of our control when things come up. If we get sick, if we have a bad pain day, if something happens with the kids or the dog or family, holidays, there's just all these different things that can come up where there may come a day where you just can't work. And so I always recommend people to have banks, whatever that looks like to you. You can schedule listings out ahead of time on eBay. You can just have some extra photos on hand to quickly make listings if you have to, or you can pre-build listings and keep them in your drafts on eBay or List Perfectly and have those to draw upon when you need them. When you have the banks in place and life happens, less stress and anxiety happens because you can just keep going with the flow. So what I do recommend is when you do your time block, and whatever your goal is, 10 items a day or 15, always do 2 to 3 extra just to have that little bit of cushion. And then you can start building your banks from those extras. But it's important to block time for all of the things you need to do, which is why it's important to keep a planner or a notebook by your computer for your to-do lists. You know you have to block time for shipping, listing, and sourcing. But your listing time block needs to enable enough time for the prepping, the measuring, the photographing, and the actual act of listing, and cross-posting if you do that. So that needs to be a bigger time block. Depending on whether you have a volume-based business or you just sell 1 or 2 items a day, is going to be how much time you're blocking for your shipping. Hopefully you have a good inventory management system, and if you don't, 2025 is the year to get organized and get yourself a good inventory management system and a very organized, neat shipping station set up so that you can go each day, whether you go in the morning or say you get home from your other job, but you can look at what sold, make a list, quickly go down and pull it out of your neat little system, bring it to your station, and just get it ready to ship. That will help you streamline as well. And then you have to have time for shipping, listing, and sourcing. And that's going to look different for everyone. If you're someone that wants to go thrifting each day and you can block the time for that, that's fine. But you have to block the time for that. So you have to have the time to go into your car and drive to each store and look through the racks and choose what you're going to bring home and stand in line and pay for it and buy it. You should be washing everything that you bring into your home and steaming it at the very least. So you have to block all of that time in, and you still need time to list and ship. If you buy wholesale like we do, maybe you're just blocking in time once or twice a week to go online auctions or go do your ordering and purchasing that way. Those are the three basic things. It's just not that simple when you go to do it. There's shipping. You are also pulling your items. Maybe you have to go to the post office. The listing also requires photographs and preparation work and all of that. And then sourcing can be as simple as going on ThreadUp and placing an order, or you're going out and thrifting. Everyone's life is different, and I say that 1,332 times a year, a day, in every video, but it's important to keep that in mind. It's super easy to get caught up in the reselling community, watching other resellers, whether you're watching them on Instagram or you're watching them on YouTube or you're interacting with them on Facebook, and think, oh, I need to be like her. I need to emulate her business. I need to be just like him. I need to do what he does. No, you don't. You don't. You need to do what works for you. You need to get the kinds of items you can source easily for you, sustainably, and replaceably. Build a business around that. Make the amount of money and the amount of listings that you need for your life. Your life is different. Your bills are different. Your family's different. Everyone has different needs and different amounts of money they need to make. Everyone has different items they can find to source. And everyone has different time constraints. I do this full time, so I will be doing more than someone who's doing this part-time on the side of a full-time job, or a stay-at-home mom who homeschools, who works this around that. Everyone's life is different. So your time blocks also have to work around your life. Now, I did say we were only going to be talking about your work schedule in this video, but your work schedule has to be around your life. And that is the beautiful part of being self-employed. You can work a straight 8-hour workday. You can work while the kids are at school. You can work a little bit in the morning and a little bit in the evening before and after your other job. You can work part-time, full-time, third shift, second shift. You can work on the weekends. You can take the weekends off. You can do whatever you need to do. Just make sure that you have a work schedule. And it doesn't have to be the same every day. Depending on what your life and your family looks like, there may be days where you can put in a full 8-hour workday, and some days you can only put in 4, or blocks of 2 hours in the morning and at night. But make sure you're blocking time to work, and in that time you are being efficient. Your batch work is super important. Blocking time for the things that you need to do, planning ahead. If you know you're going to take time off, plan ahead. Get extra work done and waiting for you, or put your store on vacation mode so you don't have to worry about it. Build those banks. Believe me when I can tell you from experience that those are lifesavers. They'll keep your store going when you can't, and they will keep you from stressing. And then routines. Just keep doing the same things until they become a habit, and you do it without thinking. And when it all seems so overwhelming, I want you to remember you only have to do 3 things a day. Ship, list, and source. That's it. That's what our jobs boil down to. Until tax time. All right, guys, go make your work schedules. Figure out how you're going to break up your day into time blocks. Write it down, create a schedule, get those routines in place so that we can all have a really successful 2025. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, of course, as always, let me know in the comment section. I do answer everybody, even if sometimes it takes me a little while. If you want a faster response, join our Facebook group. It is called Flippin' Hippos Reseller Pod. There's thousands of really great, nice, positive people in there that can answer your question, or you can tag me and I'll get back to you. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.